see if you bastards can do 90.
Alright, so I just got done watching a screening of Inherent Vice just a couple hours ago. Not even an hour ago, I got walked out of it. It's been released in limited theaters for a while, but it's getting like a wider release across the country on Friday, so in a couple days, depending on when this gets put up. So everybody will be able to see it soon. So this is, of course, Paul Thomas Anderson's new movie. It's been pretty anticipated. It's a adaptation of a Thomas Pynchon novel, who I'm pretty sure he's a pretty popular author. I've never read any of his books, but just from what I've heard, he's really popular. A lot of people said this was kind of one of his novels that's probably not very adaptable to film. So people were interested to see how P.T. Anderson would handle it, because he's a really well respected director and everything. So people love his movies, and he usually gets a lot of awards buzz going on when he does a movie. So I'll just get into it. It's a pretty confusing plot and everything, so I'll try not to confuse things too much. But our main protagonist is Doc Sportello, played by Joaquin Phoenix. So he's teaming up with Anderson again. He worked with him on The Master, his last movie. So it's 1970 in near LA, California. I'm not too familiar with California, but I think it's like southern LA. But it's 1970. Doc is a PI. He's a private investigator, and he's always high. He's always smoking, and he's always so he's always altered his mind. But he gets thrown in right away. He gets a visit from his old girlfriend Shasta, played by Catherine Waterston, and she comes in, tells him about this crazy plot that her boyfriend is going to be kidnapped and put into a loony bin by his wife and his wife's boyfriend. So there's like this big love. It's not a love triangle, it's a love rectangle, I guess. There's a married couple, and they each have significant others on top of their marriage. So the man that's going to be kidnapped is Michael Wolfman, and he's a real estate developer, and Shasta's worried that he's going to get kidnapped and put into this insane asylum or whatever by his wife and her boyfriend. That's the basic plot. And so eventually Wolfman does disappear, and also Shasta goes missing. So that's when Doc really gets involved, because he cares. It's obvious that he still cares about Shasta, so he gets onto the case and tries to figure it out. That's where it starts, but then after that it gets pretty confusing. Pretty much every scene we're meeting a new character, and pretty much each new character has kind of a new addition to the story or addition to the plot, and things can get pretty overloaded, and it gets kind of confusing. But so it is a big mystery. I'm not going to even try to get into all the people that are involved, but I'll just go into the actors that are also in the movie. So besides Joaquin Phoenix and Catherine Waterston, Josh Brolin is probably the other biggest character. He plays Christian Bigfoot Bjornsson, who's a detective. And so he interacts with Doc a lot. He's pretty funny in the movie, actually. And then we get Martin Short is in it for a little bit. He has a very short scene, but his scenes are funny. Eric Roberts plays Wolfman. We see him later. And we have a couple other... Owen Wilson is one of the characters. And a couple other cameos here and there. Reese Witherspoon is Doc's new girlfriend. And Maya Rudolph makes a short appearance. Stuff like that. But anyways, like I said, I don't want to try to get into the plot too much because it's pretty confusing. But I had pretty high expectations for this movie, and I think a lot of people also thought it was going to be a bit of a return to form for Anderson. Kind of, you really get the vibe, especially from the trailer. You get the Boogie Nights kind of vibe. It's Boogie Nights like in the 80s, this is the 70s, but you feel like it's going to be fun and comedic and lighthearted and stuff like that. So I had really high expectations, and it's funny. It's like a dark comedy. I think a lot of that comes from Joaquin Phoenix, of course, and also Josh Brolin is really funny in it. But like I said, I've said many times, it's kind of confusing. You're kind of in your mind, you're wondering what parts are real. Also, maybe editing wise, are things actually in order? We're getting so many characters introduced and so many plot developments. They kind of get chopped up in a weird way. It puts you in this weird mindset because Doc's always high, he's always smoking marijuana, and you kind of get that through the editing and the film itself. You get that kind of weird haze about it, what's going on. You're kind of confused as well. But I mean, I thought it was pretty, I don't say it's super easy, but I thought it was okay to follow the plot. I didn't think I was really missing much. I was, the whole time I was understanding everything that was going on, even with the addition of all the different characters and plot points. Even though I felt like I was understanding the whole plot the whole time, I just had this sense that I was missing something the whole time. Like, there has to be something as a whole, like, that I'm not getting. I don't know, just kind of weird feeling. I felt like, am I missing something that would help explain the plot and then make it really click for me? You know, make everything really come together. I just had that weird kind of sense of I'm missing something. I don't know. It's hard to explain. So the unfortunate thing is that, I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5, which is, it's not super low, but it's not very high either. And I think expectations for a Paul Thomas Anderson movie are so high. You want to really like it. I really wanted to like it. And other people I was talking to before I walked into the theater, they're like, "You're gonna love it. This movie's awesome." So I was like, "All right, I wanna love it too." And I just, especially for your average moviegoer, it's long. It's 2.5 hours, and I have a feeling most people are going to get confused by it, and they're going to think it's too long, and they're not going to like it. Well, I didn't hate it or anything. On a first viewing, it's not the most satisfying movie, which is unfortunate. I think something with Paul Thomas Anderson's direction over his last few movies, I feel like his movies, you have to watch them multiple times to get the full extent of the experience. So his earlier movies, you could watch them once and they're fine. Even with Boogie Nights, you watch it once, it's awesome, but the more you watch it, the better it is. I liked There Will Be Blood on the first viewing of it, but then the more I watched it, the more I liked it. I've only seen The Master the one time in theaters, and I wasn't too positive on it. I was okay with it, but that one I feel like other people have said you need to watch it more times to understand it fully and to get the full experience. And I haven't revisited that one yet, but I feel this is kind of a similar situation, that he's getting into that, I don't know, he's getting into a mode of filmmaking where you have to watch it multiple times. And just to get, I think you have to watch it multiple times so that you're in a different mindset each time. You go into it fresh, not knowing what's going to happen. That's one way of seeing it. I think on a second viewing, you're going to know multiple parts of the plot, and you're going to see it in a different way. And so I think you just have to keep rewatching it to get the full extent. So hopefully that does happen. If I rewatch this, I'll like it more and more. But I don't retroactively go back and rate my movies. I've done it once or twice, but very rarely. So I'm just gonna keep it at 3.5 because this is my initial rating right after just walking out of it, and that's how I feel about it. So there's a lot of movie connections going on with this right away. I was getting a very heavy Big Lebowski vibe because it is film noir. It's like a mystery. It's kind of like, at first I was getting the idea that if Doc was the dude, but instead of, the dude just kind of surreptitiously, like unwillingly gets put into this weird mystery, and this kidnapping plot. On the other hand, Doc's like the dude, but he's kind of proactively engaged in the search for a kidnapped person or this plot that's going on. So that's what I was feeling. But it's not as fun. It's not as lighthearted as The Big Lebowski. I was also getting a lot of vibes from like Raymond Chandler. Raymond Chandler's an author, but he did movies like there's movies based off his books like The Big Sleep with Humphrey Bogart, and the one that I was thinking of more was The Long Goodbye from the 70s with Robert Gould, or Elliot Gould, sorry. That I was getting that kind of a vibe. Also later I kind of thought something, I don't know, is not super similar, but I was thinking maybe a little bit like Jackie Brown, how that was like a big change up for Quentin Tarantino. And a lot of people didn't like that movie right away because it was quite a departure for Tarantino to do something like Jackie Brown. It was much slower paced. It was about, a robbery, and there's all these different characters, and they all have their own different motivations, and that kind of got confusing too for a while. But I think as people rewatched it more and understood, what he was trying to do with that movie, they liked it a lot more. I could see this movie kind of being the same way. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's hard to. I don't know if I can recommend people seeing it in theater because I would definitely recommend watching it. I don't know if I would recommend going to the theater and paying for it because, like I said before, I have a feeling a lot of average people going to a movie, it's 2.5 hours long. It is a pretty long movie, and you might get really confused, and just by the end of it, you just might hate it. So I might have to say, so if you're a diehard Paul Thomas Anderson fan or Joaquin Phoenix fan, definitely see it in the theater. If you're, just you love films and you're kind of, not film snob, but you're a cinephile and you love the art of filmmaking, definitely see it so you can see it the second time, sooner. But I'd say average person, just wait for it to come onto DVD maybe and watch it later, but it's worth a watch. I can't wait to see it again because, like people say, you need to see it more than once. So I guess I'll quit repeating myself and I'll stop there.